One of the worst habits that I ever had was when I would compete in sports and something would go wrong. I'd always blame my teammates. I would never blame myself. I would never say my fault, but I would always yell at other people or, tell other people to do something differently when the whole time I could have been doing something differently as well. It took a long time for me to kind of realize how poor of a habit that was, but now I realize that that really hindered a lot of my progress in a lot of facets of my own growth. Um, I think when we say that's not my fault, or I think when we kind of yell at others at how they could do a better job, what that's doing is that's relinquishing our own control of the situation. Especially in my case, I would relinquish so much control because if I were to tell somebody else, you should do something else differently, what that means is that I'm essentially claiming that everything that I did was correct. There's two things that I'm claiming. Everything that I did was correct, and there's that none of my actions have any control over the outcome of the situation. And these two like implicit claims, I think, are very, very destructive. The first one is obvious. If you think that you did everything right, you're wrong. There's always facets to improve, but if you have the assumption that you did everything right, then that means you have no motivation. You have no external factors that will lead you to improve. You have no implicit judgment that you can pass upon yourself. It increases your ego. It increases, kind of like the self importance that you would have around yourself. Overall, a bad thought. But the second thing, where you think that nothing you can do can improve the situation at all, I think that that relinquishment of control is so injurious to your own growth, especially when that means that there isn't necessarily even a point to your effort, in terms of the situation. If it's not your fault, and if you give the blame to somebody else, that also implicitly means that they have all the control over the situation. And if that's the case, then does your participation even matter? Are you replaceable? Are you forgettable? Are your efforts fruitless? Are your efforts useless? These words are very, very extreme and somewhat hurtful. For somebody to say out loud to themselves or to like another human being. But I think that really drives the point home of how dangerous such a simple four-letter phrase can be. If you when I would continue to claim that stuff wasn't my fault, then I'd have less control over every situation. And conveniently, these situations, whether it be on the court, on the field, or like even in my own life, my day to day, I happen to be involved in every situation. Yet somehow it's not my fault. That line of thinking just doesn't track. It doesn't track at all. I think overall, when I started to realize this, it was so much more helpful to, me reclaiming, the efforts that I would put into, my daily life and my endeavors, and also getting better at them and actually seeing some type of success, seeing some type of improvement after realizing that, if I claim that it is my fault, then that means that when success happens, that it's my success as well. Because the converse is also true. If something isn't your fault, then when something goes when something goes correctly, or when something is sort of successful, that also is not your doing. That's the doing of somebody else. So when you find success, or when you find a way to improve the situation, then in the same way that it would be your fault if it goes poorly, it would be your success if it goes well.